It's a total cut when you come in corporate business. There are no exams, there are no grades or whatever. Maybe once in a year you have a performance review, but then you do not get any kind of a grades. So the question is, what do you do in an organization and what rules, like in school or university, you have to follow that you get the good grades? And this is a totally different skill and nobody teaches you that. Super, you're a smart guy, we see that, super fast brain, but we don't know who you are. So, and I was astonished about that. For me, taking myself 10 years ago, it was just the usual average guy, and now people respect me more because they see, okay, no, that there's really a person caring, being able to push and to foster me and to grow.
Welcome to Leadership Pulse podcast. I'm your host, Jay Sharma. I have with me here today Branislav Poletanović, who is a leadership coach, and his journey has been interesting. He holds a Ph.D. in physics and had held several roles in corporate, starting from project management, data science, and sales. Today, we'll talk to him and understand how he has shifted his journey from a corporate job to a leadership coach. Over to you, Brani. Why don't you take a minute and tell our listeners about who you are?
Yeah, thanks, Jay, and thanks for having me with you. So yeah, my journey is when you enter a corporate business, right, and you are used to be high performer. So that is my attitude. When I come somewhere, I always give 100%. I push. I'm a winner guy, and then you just see nothing is happening. So it is not like in school. You go there, make a good exam, you get a good mark. So this does not happen automatically in organizations. And so that is the thing where it may click and said, okay, something is odd in here. And I started then thinking about that. And basically at the end, it's always about personal development, that you see yourself to fit in the picture and then to grow steadily. And this also leads then automatically to that being a leader, going first, etc.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit more about, you talked about, when you go through school, you get good grades, the expectation of something else, but when you come to corporate, it doesn't work as expected. So how should our audience or listeners think about this thing? Like what works in corporate?
Yeah, it is. I mean, even it started at university. When on my very first day at university, I saw students talking very closely to professors, and I thought, yeah, they know each other for years. And then afterwards, I asked the students, do you know them? No, I don't know. And I was asking myself, how could it be that they are so closely talking, able to talk that in a very intimate way, etc. And I didn't get it. And I just observed it, but for the moment I neglected it because studies were so the focus. And afterwards, you enter corporate business and you see the same picture. You see people talking to top managers, and you think, oh, they have a relation. No, they basically grab the opportunity to go to the leader or top management and to talk to them, and everything else you just feel odd somehow, and you see. It seems that there are rules you don't know, but the others follow. And there is a gap, obviously. And this is what people have to learn. Because in school, for example, and university, everything is clearly defined. So you go to school, you learn, then you make an exam, you get a grade, and that's it, right? And this repeats all over, even in university. It's a total cut when you come in corporate business. There are no exams, there are no grades or whatever. Maybe once in a year you have a performance review, but then you do not get any kind of a grades. So the question is, what do you do in an organization, and what rules, like in school or university, you have to follow that you get the good grades? And this is a totally different skill, and nobody teaches you that. So it's just you dropped into the cold water and everybody say swim, but you have never experienced before what water is. So you do not know what swimming is at all. So, and there are, of course, different people who, let's say, I call it always, and I think also Simon Sinek put it in that way, you have this privileged mindset. And I don't say it in a bad manner. So it's okay. Privilege just means you have understood certain things and then you can apply them, right? And this is for higher educated people or children from entrepreneurs, etc. So they have another set of knowledge where they enter the organizational business. They know how to talk to managers, to top managers, how to be in a team, etc., etc. So this just, in a short, outlook, let's say, what is the difference in what I recognize between an organization and, our usual and private life.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we would love to dig deeper into it. But let's start with, how did you come to this realization? Like, when did you realize that there are no rules here, and how did you decode them?
Decoding means, for me, always sharp and aggressive observation and listening. So you have to find patterns, how people behave. And it's all for sure about psychology, about knowledge, about strategy. Everything comes into account. And for me, I think everybody of us needs this moment of hitting a wall, let's say it like that. And for me, it was once I had an assessment center for a job, so in a top consultancy company, and I failed, So, and that was very interesting for me because one of the psychologists said, we can't read you at all. And that's the reason why we reject you, because we cannot read how you think, how you behave. So all my results were good from, let's say, the technical part, all the case studies, etc. They said, yeah, it's super, you're a smart guy, we see that, super fast brain, but we don't know who you are. So, and I was astonished about that. Of course, it was some kind of a setback, but I knew it's like when I give you a slap, Jay, all right? You get a slap, it hurts, but it doesn't kill you, and you have to go through this, right? Through this pain. And I started also analyzing that. And this is the first moment where I also realized what people say, you need some kind of an advisory board around you. And this advisory board gives you true feedback. And I asked that, for example, my wife, friends, etc. So why did this happen? And then we talked what kind of answers I gave. And then now I come to the point, I'm really sorry. And they said, yeah, the problem is I had bad examples of leaders around me who were basically bad managers or bosses. And I thought this is the way how a corporate organization is working. And it's not the case. So I just copied a behavior from other people. I wasn't not my true self. And then I said, okay, no. It's not about copying something. You have to be, at first place, a human being with emotions, be fallible, be everything. And let's start from now on. Okay, what does that mean? So I have to communicate more open to other people. I have to see my own mistakes, talk about them, grow, right? And so this is the point. So hitting a wall, and then it starts basically with yourself, because it's never the fault of other people. And accepting this, reducing the own ego, and accepting then this development that you are not developed. So you're just a small child from that. It makes you then grow.
Wow, that was a gold mine of information. So let me kind of distill that information for our audience and then help me bridge the gaps. So I think you started with two key skills of observing and listening. Then you talked about, not trying to copy somebody, essentially imposter syndrome. And then you talked about being self-aware, like realizing what your growth areas are and then kind of working on that, right? So great, we'll delve into all of these in a few minutes. One thing which I really want to ask you, which kind of caught my attention, is you talked about you had a lot of bad managers, bad leaders around you. So how do one identify if their manager, if their leader is not a good one?
That's one of the major questions, and I think it's pretty easy to reveal, but it needs a bit of experience. It is what we call walk the talk. When you talk to leaders, managers, bosses, and whatever, and you have any kind of a negotiation, let's say about a performance review, about small things, or what you have, and you agree with them on something, and it does then not happen, right? For example, these fairy tales when you talk about getting a higher salary, for example, right? So they say, yes, yeah, but there are reasons. For example, the company is at the moment not that good, or no, we do not have the budget. There is always a reason from an organizational point of view. The true leader, he or she tells you, no, it's not possible because I don't see it, but this is what you have to do to reach a higher level. So that they really anticipate you and are interested in yourself. A boss or whatever finds just the easiest explanation for you to accept, to reject you, right? So they don't care basically about any kind of personal development or whatever. So this is it basically, that you see the small actions and decisions you take with them, that they deviate. at the end, it's also about communication. They do not also do it with you, they do it with all others. And so that's talk also to the colleagues, and then you will figure it very fast out.
Interesting. I think you made a couple of interesting points here. I think the first thing I would want to ask you is, at least what I've seen in my experience when I talk to a lot of people that I coach and whatnot, a lot of people have this hesitation of reaching out to their or asking their manager for a promotion, for a raise, right? So like all these things come after, like, you need to first ask. How should one approach this ask, and then how to deal with, if your manager says, no, we don't have the budget, and don't give you the real reason?
There are two things you mentioned. So to ask, yes, it is asking. And for me, the very first discussion with my, or negotiation with my manager about the raise, I bought a book, to read about it, how to do it. And the problem is that they all say, yeah, write down what you have achieved in the past year, and then you go to your manager, and then you talk to them and just give them a list. So for me, it felt like bragging, and most of the people have a problem with that. After years of experience, you know that it's not bragging. At the end, for example, you know that you deserve the more money, and it's not about argumentation. So that's the reason why we feel bad. You argue that you deserve more money. No, it's not like that. It's just like telling your spouse, your friend, your neighbor that you have achieved something. Like Jay, last week I finished the project, was pretty good. And when you saw, for example, it was in time and budget and in quality, that's, I think, pretty good. What we have done or accomplished, or I made this training, that was cool, or I reached to this and that out to this person and got this information, that was pretty cool. And I think that's not that average. So compare what is expected from you and what you did over the average. Because keep in mind, being average and asking for a raise, that does not work. So this is also something where people struggle. They think they are there and then you get a raise. No. Prove for yourself and challenge yourself, okay, what did I do to deserve it? And this is also, think from the manager's position. Most often what I've seen is you tell them these things, not bragging or convincing, but you give them the arguments for the higher level management or for HR, because they also do not know all information or all things you have achieved. So it's basically, you give a list what you've done over the average, so that the other side just say, oh yeah, it makes total sense. And I give you an example. One of my last negotiations about higher salary was very easy. It was a performance review, 1 hour. We talked 55 minutes about life. So there was no job, nothing, because I have a close relation to my leader. And at the end I said, oh yeah, by the way, I totally forgot. And then he said, yeah, what's up? I said, yeah, we have to talk about raise. And he said, yeah, raise, I think it's been a while. I said, yeah, and I changed a lot of things. He said, yeah, I think you deserve it. Let me check, to get this through. So I didn't even have, the possibility or the need to explain things, because when you keep up with your leader all the time, among the year, the leader sees that you grow. The leader gives you more actions, more tasks, whatever, you complete them. So the leader is aware of what you have done, and at the end it is just concluding, yeah, you know what I've done, and I think, listen, raise is pretty reasonable. They say, oh yeah, it's right, because the problem is, if you don't get a raise, you leave the company or you leave to another team.
No, that's fantastic. And I think the key message there is do the good work and then raise awareness, so your manager, your leaders know about it. It's not bragging, it's raising awareness of what you have achieved and why you deserve the raise.
For them, it's normal. They expect it. They will never come to you. So it is totally normal, and it shows also your strength, because they expect that you go there and say, yeah, I need a raise or whatever. And they say, yeah, it makes sense. And it's good, because it shows also your courage to face such kind of a conversation.
Nice. Wonderful. Okay, so the follow-up question, going back to your initial description about like how you were defining the important skills. So let's talk about those, observation and listening skills that you talked about. Tell us a little bit more about like how can one do better at listening, observing, and does not become victim to imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Okay, I have to start, let's say, really at my physics DNA, because what does that mean? I mean, I'm a theoretical physicist, so basically the Sheldon Cooper, if you watch Big Bang Theory, right? So, and what comes along with that? You're pretty arrogant, Sheldon is it, you think I know it all, and as fast or as far as you open your mouth, you start convincing people with arguments, like Sheldon, right? Oh, it's like that, bam, 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 bam. So you can never win an argument. So this is the first thing when you speak. And everything you speak and tell, like in this moment, right, everything is known what I'm saying. So this is not good. And I figured out, no, you have to switch, from talking to shutting up to listening. And being a master of communication means asking questions. And questions, asking them and raising them, this is the smart move, not talking. And let's say the most successful moments in my career were always when I shut up and let the other people talk to 95%. So hopefully, this podcast will also be positive, right? Because I talk all the time, I would rather like to be in your position. But it is really when you want to master communication, start with yourself, stop talking. And it's so hard to raise the right questions. And we see it also with you. You listen very carefully at this moment. Why? To anticipate what I'm saying, to hook the next question. And this is real also empathy, because you're totally focused on myself. And this is what people keep in mind. They never keep in mind people who talk good. They keep people in mind who really ask the good questions about themselves, because they say, like in my case, Jay raised so smart question. He was so empathic because he recognized that I mentioned this small detail or this small detail. So I feel a warmth about my heart, that you are so empathic about me. So questions.
I'll share a fun fact. I was watching a TED Talk yesterday, and the TED Talk was about asking better questions. And I'll share the link to the TED Talk in the description. The most important thing was, the key message was, listen and silent are two words made of same alphabets, and good listening happens when you become silent.
Yes.
Right. However, it is still so hard for people to be silent and listen, try to put themselves into the other person's shoes and understand what they're feeling, where they're coming from. It is so important, but a lot of people still fail to do that, right? And what I like to say, and Rani, you might have seen me saying that on our LinkedIn post and whatnot. I always like to say, listen to understand, not to respond.
Yeah. That's what Stephen Covey also in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says, right? So listen to understand and not to reply. And this is the problem. We most often, you see it right now, so you didn't ask a question. What did I do? I jump in. So I was listening to you with the intent to reply, and not to shut up and be silent. Because if I would have been silent, you would have raised the next question as a good moderator. So this is a total proof of what not to do. And I'm glad I did it so that the audience can feel it, what not to do.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brani. Thank you. All right, let's shift gears. I would want to go back to your past when you were going through your Ph.D. Walk us through your journey. How did you go from a Ph.D. in theoretical physics to becoming a leadership coach?
The basic question, the main question, unfortunately I cannot share a picture of me doing a PhD. My, let's say, office mate, he has made a picture where I have long hair, basically all the formulas in the background. And I finished my PhD in physics, and then I entered telecommunication and IT. So this is a pretty shift, right? So people most often say, okay, why didn't you continue physics and whatever? So for me, the journey was over. I answered all the questions, let's say it like that, in physics. And what I did then, and this is the core, for me personally, the core, exactly what you say is, you have to look at your personal strength. So what are your strengths? And after physics, and this natural sciences, for me, it was IT. That was the second passion, and I was really good at it. So everything about computers, programming, etc. I was a bit of a geeky nerd. So when I searched for a job, I wasn't searching for going in sales. As I said, somebody talking all the time is bad sales. So I wasn't going to HR. Why? I have no clue about HR. So be aware of that. What is your personal sweet spot of being strong at it, having the passion, loving it, and being able to do it all day. So, and that was for me IT. And then I dived into IT, and then I started there my corporate life. And then, of course, it's for sure from one geek to another geek, because IT and physics, they share, of course, some things. But again, you grow, you see your strength, and then you have to be broadened up. And what I say is, of course, you have all the time weaknesses, but you have to control them, right? One of my biggest weakness is ego, and I was everywhere when you enter, here I am, etc. No. You have to control that, because that also gives fear to other people and whatever. No, focus on the strengths, build up things which you can, for example, like empathy or listening. This is all mechanics, so it's no big deal, no rocket science. As you said, use silence. And what I usually do, just to give an example, I feel it right now. I talk too much, we should now stop. When you feel something like that, focus on these triggers. When you talk to other people, say, oh, no, I'm talking too much. I do not ask questions. Okay, shut up. Now, what could be a good question? Take the last 3 words. What is the intent, and ask the person, right? So such inner triggers help you also about your strengths, weaknesses, that you know how you can perform best.
Nice, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your journey. I think my next question for you, somewhat related, is how has your journey shaped up who you are today?
Oh, that's a tough one. My wife always says, I'm married 15 years, and she says, I'm a total different person than I've been 5 or 10 years ago. And she's amazed what kind of a transformation I've done to the positive, right? So I become more empathic. That's by accident. I don't say it's by purpose. I feel more the people, because from ego to focus on other people means that you feel their pain, that you try to natively and genuinely to understand the other people, to feel with them, and to share the thoughts, the emotions, etc. So this does change really everything, and this opens your heart, your mind to other perspectives, and so this lets you grow as a person and as a personality. And I got the impression, it's just an impression because other people have to judge that for me, taking myself 10 years ago, it was just a usual average guy, and now people respect me more because they see, okay, no, there is really a person caring, being able to push and to foster me and to grow, right? So I give you one example. Whenever I start a new project with people, I ask them the following question. I say, as what do you want to be seen at the end of this project? And they say, whoa, why are they asking this question? I said, yeah, we're at the beginning. I know what I can do. I have my network, I have this and that. And when you tell me, as what do you want to be seen, I will block all these positions, tasks, whatever, for you so that you can shine, right? And this is something people are totally confused because they never thought about it. They just come into projects, things start, and everything within a project, within an organization, within whatever you do in life is an opportunity to do something, right? And I try natively and genuinely to understand and to push the people for their own sake. And it happens, last time when I asked this person, she said, and I'm pretty pushy, I'm a high performer, I this and that. And then I gave the person more tasks. And at the end, I asked again 2 weeks later a question, what do you think? Would you like to jump into this? And then she said, no, I have to be more clear about myself because I thought I want that. Why? Because people and world tells you, you have to perform, you have to be better. It's not about performance. It's about getting to know yourself better, finding your strength, and when you find your strength, then you can put your strength into the game to deliver high results. This is it, and not like I did also at the beginning, you copy other people. No, if you're bad on a stage, don't go to be on a stage, right? Okay, master the basics, but don't say, I want to be on stage, I want to be on stage. No. That's what I mean. Find it out and then bring it to the best result for the project, the organization, or the company.
Interesting. So you talked about multiple people during this journey. So my next question for you is, who are the 3 people who has impacted your life positively through your journey?
Alive or also dead people allowed?
Whoever, doesn't really matter.
For sure, I read 6 books from a Greek monk, and he was explaining, how to say it, he was explaining life from a Christian point of view, the Orthodox view, and that was really, really life-changing. For me, everything changed because he was, for me, explaining the world, how people are thinking, how people are behaving, right? So I just give you an example. If I put pressure on you on an organization, of course, you cannot bear the pressure. Maybe yes, maybe not. Everybody has a specific level of pressure you can bear. Or, for example, caring about others. I was earlier this day thinking about also a LinkedIn post I want to put, and then I was coming back to this monk. He said, yeah, inform always your people who work with you or who live with you about an outcome, right? So if I ask you, Jay, could you send me over the presentation or your last LinkedIn post? I can't find it because I need it for my next project. And you send it over and I never give you feedback. He said, try to emphasize how Jay would feel. He helped you, right, in an intense moment, but you never gave him the feedback how it went because he would be very curious, And this love and empathy for other people, this opened my eyes saying, yeah, I was pretty rude to many people, right? So this changed, let's say, the spiritual way of thinking and life. Let's name a second person. It was Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. When you read his book, it is really astonishing, saying, okay, it's so basic and I don't do anything about it. And this is relation between people. And the third thing, or third book, is Stephen Covey's, what I said, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because he breaks down exactly the effectiveness in the sense of to do. So how to plan, to take action, and all the nitty-gritty details in a closed picture. So let's say these are all, I think all 3 are dead. They influence me. And otherwise, if you go in real life, it's for sure. So one of my leaders who gave me as a present this book, and this kicked off also some kind of my personal development, opening eyes, because I asked him, and that's also my advice to everybody, ask for feedback, and I just put a plain question, said, how can I improve? That was the question. And he said, let me think and let me come back to you tomorrow. And then next day he brought the book and he said, hopefully it will help you as much as it helped me. And I was pretty curious. And then I started. So, and this leader, I can name it. It's Thomas Dingle. He's also a CEO in Switzerland and a company. And marvelous guy. He always challenges me. And he's also a great leader from the position over years now. He gave me feedback about things he observed, and he always gave me only that amount of feedback I could bear. There were some times, there's one thing, but you're not ready for that. Let's wait for 6 months or something like that. So you need really these people, and he become a friend, right? So from a leader, he's now a close friend. Giving feedback, having this advisory board of people, this is the marvelous thing in life. And there are for sure more people, but just to give you now 4 examples.
Wonderful. Let's shift gears once again. You talked about you're passionate about tech, and you also are a leadership coach. So my next question to you is, how do you go about coaching people with technical background? Like a lot of people, at least what I have seen in the tech world, especially the software engineers and all, they are introverts. They like to be left alone, working on hard problems. How do you coach them to become better leaders?
I don't know whether they're introverted. I would say they're pretty focused. That is how I put it. And that answers your question, because when you're pretty focused, then your lack of awareness about other disciplines you have also to deliver. And I give you an example. When I work with IT guys, the good thing is that I've also experience in IT. So I speak the same language and I'm able to translate them. So they talk to me, we have to do this SQL statement and then put the routine in a different way and change this and that. So it's pretty technical, So I said, guys, that's okay. I got you. So, but what does that mean for the overall performance of the user. Yeah, he will get the information 10 milliseconds earlier. It's also nice. But what does it mean? Go further. So 10 milliseconds, are we talking now about it's half the time, it's third of the time, or super speedy? And then, why are you asking that? You have to make it feelable, tangible for the user. That's it. Because when you're an IT and pretty focused, or as you say, introvert, then the problem is you solve the problem, but you don't think about the impact. The impact for you personally is just to solve the problem. So ticket solved, I check mark it, and that's it. No, you have to translate it. And most often what I see when people are focused, as I said, they're not aware of communications, And one second example also about the communication is 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was also talking to people from an IT department, and then they said, yeah, we need this information. If we don't get it, then everything will be screwed up. I said, yeah, okay, what have you done? Yeah, we have asked them, the other department, but they don't provide us the information. And I said, yeah, and what then? They said, yeah, then I don't care if everything breaks down because we have asked. I said, oh, hold on. That's not that easy, You have to think in bigger pictures. They said, what do you mean? When your piece of software and your thing does not work, what will happen? The other department will tell their manager. Their manager will talk to your manager. And your manager is then the guilty guy because he is the leader of you. And then he will be angry about you. And you will say, yeah, but yet they didn't deliver. No, it's not like that. Think for your manager because they are also trying to protect you. You have to raise all the questions which are necessary. So when can we get that? Why can't we get that? When is presumably the time to get? So you have, again, coming back to this question thing, to ask all things and to put it in minutes, right? And then to communicate actively. And I said, okay, when you can't solve it, tell it your manager and give them the escalation, not in a bad way, just as a kind of information. So, dear manager, please be aware that this and this is not going to happen because this and that. Would you mind maybe to intervene here, right? So it's a small piece, right? It's really small. It's sometimes just an email which you have to write. So it's not just, yeah, I did my work, so now everything is done. No, think in bigger circles, in bigger pictures. So, and to wrap it up, I always try at first to understand the pain of the guys who I'm coaching. So you said IT. IT has other pains as, for example, sales or product manager or whatever. So, and when you have this kind of a pain understood, then you have to reflect it. So I usually give them back exercises when I do workshops that they live through and such an example, and then they feel the pain by themselves. Yeah, that does not make sense. So I translate it also in their world and saying, yeah, you didn't get, for example, the information about the interface. Yeah, but I need it. Yeah, have you asked? No. Yeah, but the other guy also not. Have you delivered it? No. Yeah, you see. So why do you expect something from other people when you don't do it, right? So this is really, you have to experience things. It's not enough that I talk to you. You have to feel the pain. When you feel the pain, then you understand it, and then it's a no-brainer.
Wonderful. I think you kind of also are touching on the idea of emotional intelligence and empathy here.
Yes.
So my next question to you is, what role does emotional intelligence play in leadership, and how does one develop that skill?
Empathy is about listening, and we have a concept, active listening. Everybody knows it. So what you actually right now did, I said something, you grabbed something, you proved that you have understood me. So if you haven't understood me, I would intervene and say, no, hey, Jay, it's not like that. The funny thing is, when you look about empathy, any kind of a definition, it says empathy is the ability to feel others' emotions. For me, it's only half of the truth. True empathy is like active listening, reflecting the emotions. So what does that mean? When I ask you, Jay, how do you feel? Yeah, I feel good. Jay, I'm not quite sure because I know you and your voice dropped at the end. It feels like that you're not quite okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, but Jay, if you're okay, you wouldn't say, no, it's okay. So I don't get it. So it feels not right. So do I get it right or wrong? And usually there is something. And people will say, for example, then you would say, no, it was just a mean mail I got now and I do not know what to reply. but I understand you. And now comes this empathy moment. It's, it was about the mail. Do you need any support? Should I take a look about it? So just an offer, Most often people then just say, yeah, why not? Let's take 5 minutes, This is empathy. If we just take the usual explanation, it would be, I think maybe Jay is not that in a good mood, I feel it, but I don't know, it could be also related to me. So clarifying about the true emotions and reflecting that. This is, for me personally, empathy, and this is how you learn it. Everybody is empathic. Everybody sees what's going on the other side, but naming and labeling it, right? But not judging, not say, I see it, you're angry, So, no, don't say that. Just ask, okay, what's up? I see there is, it seems, most often it's best to put it in it seems, not I see, because I is then related to you from the wording. It seems means it's a third person, not I. So when you say, no, you're looking good, oh, no, it's not what it just seemed. So it's a better way out for yourself. So to wrap it up, empathy is really like active listening, where you say, okay, I reflect the content I heard. Here is reflect the emotions I observe and be assured about that.
Interesting. And to build on to that point, there is an actually very good book by Dr. Helen Rees called as The Empathy Effect. It was recommended to me by one of my ex-managers a few years ago. And it has changed at least my point of view on how I approach conversation and how I think about conversations with others and how I think about dependencies when it comes to work. Like you would give an example of, you depend on another team, they don't deliver. So instead of me saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything because they didn't deliver, maybe I should go about and ask them like, hey, what's wrong? Why is this not getting delivered? What can I do to help? And showing them the impact of this not being delivered is bigger than, this small missing dependency. So I would highly recommend our listeners to read that book. I'll put a link to that book in the description as well. Awesome. We are coming towards the end of the discussion, Brani. I have a couple more questions for you. I think, first of all, I'll start this with, you telling our audience about where can they find you online? Like, how can they reach you? How can they talk to you?
The best way is via LinkedIn. So basically, I'm daily there. And posting also and sharing my nuggets and job rules. And at the moment also I'm planning to build up then a website with a newsletter, like you do. So I think it's a pretty good way to dive a bit more deeper as we do right now and being able to explain things. So, but this is something I plan for the next 1 or 2 months because, it takes a time, to put everything together. But the best way at the moment is LinkedIn.
For the audience, I'll put Brani's LinkedIn in the description. So go follow him. His content is real gold. Awesome. My second last question to you, Brani, is if time and resources were not a constraint, what would you rather do in your life?
Basically that what I do with the Pooping Campus. So read a lot of books because for me I recognize that the strength and the gift I have is reading things, understanding them, and translating it to any kind of a level, whether it's a student or a manager or executive, to translate this kind of knowledge. And knowledge can solve so many things in life, right? And we need to put it in the right way. So, and this is where I'm really keen about it. And I would read more books, distill it, and share it with people so that they don't struggle, because I know from personal experience, any kind of a problem I have, you have, or whatever, it has been solved already 1,000 times before us, right? But we don't know about the solution. So, and it's worth spreading that, releasing the stress of people, and so that the world becomes a happier place, because then everybody is more happy, And this is really driving me, I do not want that people feel pain,
Wonderful. Love that thought, and hope you can achieve that one day. All right, our final question, Brani. What is one final thought that you would want to leave our audience with?
Find your strength. Really, find your strength. This is your inner core and happy place. And when you find it, ask your parents, your friends, do a personality test, whatever. There is nothing better than spotting your strength, and it's no work when you use your strength. You see it also, famous examples. Take musicians like Mozart, or even Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They all found their sweet spot of strength and passion, and then it's basically really fun to do it all the time, and you're totally in balance with yourself, no regrets at all, and this is my message. Find your strength and deliver with it, so it is your sweet spot.
Wonderful. Such a powerful closing. Thank you, Brani. Thank you for this conversation. It was wonderful talking to you, and I hope our listeners got some valuable information out of it. To all my listeners, go follow Brani. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe, like this episode, so we can bring more of such episodes and interviews with the other professionals. Thank you.